Brutality, man. Brutality. Anyways, I like these little additions to Lambda Core. I think they kind of make the game take longer, but they're not bad. I think it's fine. How have you not died? I shot you like 800 times. Okay, cool. I'm only like 1 second into this video and I'm already bitching up a storm. Oh my god, go figure. You know, I was kind of glad they did this, that they didn't add controllers to, like, this part of the game. I know that's probably like, well, why would that make it better or worse? I think it's better that they didn't add them because, well, to this part. Because it makes it seem like, I don't know, like they're more special. Like they're Zen, like, they're the big boys, basically. I like that feel. Like, it's been, I think the LDO of Half-Life, with Ben Croshaw and Gabriel Morton, does a pretty good example of explaining what's pretty much already been said too. A lot of the shit that's kind of like teleporting to Zen, to Earth, is like basically just creatures. They're not really hostile. Like, they're just doing their own thing. Like, that head crab is just like, hey, what's this? And then, like, that's what I'm trying to say too, is once you get to Zen and you start encountering like the controller enemies, I like that they're exclusive to Zen. I was glad they didn't fuck with the continuity. In the original Half-Life, you also you still got the controllers when you were teleporting into Zen, but I think that's fine. I never thought that was a bad thing, because it was like, alright, last ditch effort, throw the big boys in. Let's stop this shit from happening. I kind of like that. I think that's fine. I don't like this part as much, because it seems like a very... This just seems video gamey, I guess. Like in vanilla Half-Life, I know I'm ignoring those batteries and stuff. I don't remember what's in there. Is that just batteries? Oh, hello. I don't have time to figure it out. Like, you just kind of like pushed buttons and started the machinery, and that made it a little bit faster, I guess. Here you gotta like lower those and then turn the switches on. That's fine. I'm not gonna say it's terrible, but it just feels like, why do I have to do this other than to make this part longer? Because those of you that don't remember or haven't played it or knew about this, what are you doing, Mr. Man? Like, okay, just sniff the floor. Alright, I gotta make sure. It's definitely still floor. In the original, it was like the end of the game, like here. So you did this part, then you got to the teleporter, and then that was the end. Like, that was essentially all Black Mesa was, so I understand like them extending this part out a bit, because Zen wasn't finished yet. And that makes, you know, some sense to me. God damn it. I didn't even know I get grabbed until like a half a second later. Excuse you. Thank you. I do like this, though. I think it's fine. I don't think it's a bad extension. I just think it's odd. Because why the hell would you need to do all this stuff to open the thing? Just pushing the button made sense to me. But then again, in original Half-Life, why the hell would you need to swim through something? You'd have to have, like, trained diving gear and diving suits, and this whole section does feel kind of weird. I also feel bad that I've turned off the film grain for the radiation, but when you play through this with the radiation effect on, it's actually pretty cool. I just don't like film grain. I like it as an aesthetic to some things. Like, I like it when it's used in, like, old-timey reference, not when it's just in the game for no reason. I think Serious Sam 3 did this, and so did, what was the other game? I think Dusk had that option too. There was a film. Oh shit. What are you doing? Oh my god, this is what happens every time I have that door slightly open. You guys have probably heard me. I'm looking at my cat right now. He's salty because my roommate's not here, and he hates when she's not here. So he's probably gonna go scream at her door for a few minutes. And I can't really do much about that. But, because she's at work. It's my day off right now. He's gonna go cry about it. So, It's not like he's deprived of food. I could, honest to God, turn my camera on and go downstairs, show you the litter box, show you the food, show you the water, the insane amount of cat toys that pollute our, like, oh my God. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Why don't you love me? I'm your actual friend. Come on now. But, yeah, the cat is not deprived. He's just being bitchy. So, there's that. Also, the addition of all these new, like, spawn points for enemies once you finish parts of the Lambda core is kind of cool. I like that. Oh, no, you're fine. Be quiet. He just wants in there so he can harass her stuff, and I'm not gonna let him do it. Come here. Are you bitchy? Oh, he looks so offended. You guys can't see it, but he looks... No. No, you're fine. He's also a really vocal cat. Most of the time in my old house, he was outside. I moved to an urban area, so he can't really go outside on his own. I have to have him on a leash, because I don't trust him to go out on his own either, because he's really stupid. And, I mean, he was an inside-outside cat, but occasionally, I think there's an old video I have where he actually got in a cat fight outside, and he's gonna go hide in the linen cupboard. Okay. If you guys have never had cats, I wish anyone that hasn't had cats could understand this. Like, every cat is just super different and super weird, and he's just no exception. He's got, like... Okay, I remember when we first moved in, he didn't really have a lot of cat toys, because we had dogs in my old house, and, so, basically, the cat didn't have, like, anything. So I got him a bunch of cat toys to see what he'd do, and so, he treats his... excuse me, like those scratchy box things, you know? Not scratching posts, they're those, like the boards that are like that weird cardboardy material. So I got him one of those, and he basically just treated it like it was a chair, because he's really stupid. And then I got him a bunch of mice, and he only liked like 3 of them. And then I tried getting him to interact with catnip. He didn't do anything. I tried getting him a laser pointer, and he looked at me like I was offending him. I got him, oh Jesus, what else? I basically have tried everything with this cat, and he only responds to, like, string. That's the only thing the cat consistently can respond to. That's why if you're ever like, oh, do a laser pointer video with your cat, he sounds, like, really funny. I'm like, no, he just stares at it and, like, looks at me like I pissed in his face or something. He just doesn't care. And it only is, like, when there's maybe... So here's the thing, if me and my roommate are both not here, he just gets depressed. If one of us is at work, he, like, he basically just does this. Excuse me. He's also just came back into this room, like, 3 times, because he just wants in her room, and I'm not gonna do that. So, basically the cat just is a mess. He's probably got more emotional damage than me. But we also... I don't think we can get another cat, is the thing. I'm not sure we're allowed to have another cat. He's an emotional support animal, so he's fine. I didn't even have to pay a pet deposit for him. But it was like... I don't really want to push my luck, basically. Even though there's numerous, like, people with pets in our, like, neighborhood. I don't want to, like, you know, push the luck. Especially when, like, my best friend is also our housing inspector. Which doesn't really matter, because that's, like, a completely different thing. If I fucked something up, it would still be my fault. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or asses about it. And I still went through all the, like, things you have to go through to apply and everything. So it wasn't like it was just an easy thing. I haven't really talked about moving in a long time. Or at all yet, I don't think. Basically, it's just better. Like, my old house was a toxic shithole. Full of just tension and anger and awful. I also had no fucking recording ability, like, at all. Oh, that's right, we gotta push the coolant open, that's right. Because apparently Black Mesa, despite being, you know, in charged by, like, people with college educations and, you know, actual, like, brains, they still have to do this to make the damn thing start. What was the point of stopping it? That's what I don't understand either. Like, was it to prevent the invasion? What was the point? Why did everyone hinge so much on the Lambda Complex? Why didn't they just say, hey, Lambda Complex made teleporters? It's one of the small plot problems with Half-Life, but I love Half-Life to death, but that's always been a problem with me. What was the point of doing all of this? Why didn't they just have, like, a Barney with a fucking HEV suit do all this, you know? It's one of those small things that you don't look back on until you play the game and you go, hey, wait a minute, that's stupid. Half-Life 2 has also got a really glaring issue, in my opinion. Why do people consider Gordon a hero, despite the fact that he technically is responsible for fucking up the entire planet? Like, I probably wouldn't care for Gordon, honestly. Like, you did this, but no, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. I'd probably be... them physics. I'd probably be pretty excited to be like, oh, look, Gordon Freeman's back. But it's 20 years. He hasn't aged a single iota, as Eli says. You know, that's kind of weird. Why do people just go, oh yeah, he hasn't aged, quite literally. Oh, where you been, Gordon? You just been chilling in your bed, J. Owen, for 20 years? Okay, cool. Like, no one really questions that kind of thing in Half-Life 2, and it's one of those little complaints with the story I've just always kind of found a bit iffy. I don't know. There's something about it that, like, really grates on me as a Half-Life fan. I mean, along with everything that grates on Half-Life fans, I suppose. But that's one that's really hard to ignore, because... Excuse me? Where did you come from? Do these teleport in? Or did I just ignore them and I didn't notice it? It's probably a bit of both, to be fair. But, that's just strange. And if you're like, Seth, you're going the wrong way. No, I'm not. I'm getting more ammo because this next part's a shit show. Ugh. I still think this part... Do not linger. Don't tell me what to do. You don't have a science degree. Or a functioning brain anymore, but that's besides the point. Yeah, there's definitely parts in Half-Life that still have problems. Like, why... There's a lot of stuff in Half-Life 2 I wish was answered, but hey, we don't have Half-Life 3, so there's that. But, yeah. I definitely still think Black Mesa's a good experience. It's... I mean, if we only got Half-Life 2, and that's it, and the episodes, I'd actually be kind of okay with that. I know that sounds like... Really? You would? And I'd say, yeah, I'd totally be okay with that. I mean, sometimes I think a series ending is fine. And I used to have, one of my old bosses once said, oh, well, they do that to keep, like, IPs, which is why they remake and reboot. And I'm like, no, remaking and rebooting's lazy. And especially from a developer standpoint, because it shows you have no idea what the hell to do anymore. Because either you're so... Your company is so divided, or your company just doesn't know what they're doing anymore. I don't know, there was a YouTube comment I made the other day about how I don't think... It was something about Silent Hill 2, and someone said they needed to remake it, and I think my comment was somewhere along the lines of, I don't think it needs to be remade because it's just kind of lazy. I think just play the old versions. Like, it's the same game, it's just old. I think that's why I'll still say, as much as I love Black Mesa, I prefer vanilla Half-Life because it's the original experience. It's still how the game was meant to be played. It's still got the intent, the heart, the soul. Everything is pretty much how it should be, if that makes any sense. Like, when it comes to remakes, I don't get as impressed or excited by them. Like, I like AM2R because, let's face it, AM2R is almost a necessary remake. Because, and now you're probably thinking, Seth, you raging hypocrite, you hate remakes, you said they're lazy. Well, AM2R is a fan remake, it's not made by Nintendo. That's totally different. If it's a fan remaking something, like if you've ever seen Doom the way it did, That's a really good Doom WAD, or Black Mesa, or oh god, like anything made by fans, I'm much more like open towards, because it's not the same. If a company doesn't know what to do anymore and they just keep remaking and rebooting things, like MK9, that's not what I'd call a bad example, because it was still the continuation. It had the entire same story as Mortal Kombat. Like, okay, first of all, DC Universe isn't a game. That doesn't exist. It was a shitty game, shitty fighting engine. It was shit. Get over it, okay? We can't say it didn't happen, but it is technically still a Mortal Kombat game, yes. But just because it's bad doesn't mean I don't acknowledge it. It's still a Mortal Kombat 8. Like, whether you want it to be or not, it's still the 8th installment in the series. You know, despite me thinking... I still think it's dumb that they just rebooted the entire series, but at the same time, it was still, MK9 was a continuation of the events, and it was a different timeline, different everything happening. I'm not even gonna go there with my opinions on, like, time travel as a writer. I think it's a hackney, terrible idea, and I don't think it's good at all. But, you know, that's just my opinion, I guess. But... And then MK10 was good. MKX was great. I love X. It's actually a really damn good game because it feels like, listen to this, a new Mortal Kombat game. And it doesn't just say, hey, this is MK4. It's technically, yeah, it's MK4, a different, like, timeline. But it's still a very solid, well-made fighting game with new characters, new story. Everything's different. And there's different, like, plot elements. Yeah, Shinnok's still the bad guy. That's because the timeline still has to advance. But it's not a remake, per se. It's not a remake of MK4. Because, hell, Baraka wasn't even in the game in MK4. He was in MK Gold, but there's still all the MK4 cast, except for, like, Kai and what's-his-nuts, Jarek. Give up, Jarek. The good guys won. Like, oh, that game is so good. You know, it's not even like a bad game. It's a really solid, well-made, like, new Mortal Kombat game. And I think that's why it works so well. I'm gonna be playing up until the Zen, like, teleport here just for this episode, I think. And we'll do Zen as its own, like, campaign sort of thing. I don't like this part. I feel it's a little jank and stupid, and I just want to get through it as quickly as I can. But, I don't know, MKX was great. It was a great game. MK11, fucking terrible. Oh my god, where do I even start with the story in that game? It's a goddamn dumpster fire of everything just wrong. It's stupid. The ending is stupid. The gameplay's fine. Like, the game itself is okay. The ending's stupid, the writing's stupid, the plots are... oh shit. The plots are really haphazard and all over the place. Like, characters become totally different characters because of reasons that don't make any sense. Jade suddenly loves Kotal Khan. They have, like, this crazy, deep, intimate relationship that's just suddenly there. Never hinted at any point in the game. Shao Kahn dies, but he technically doesn't die by getting face swiped by Katana. Like, dude, that story is all over the goddamn place. Don't even try. Okay? Like, no. That game is a hot mess. The story is the most fuck you thing to everybody that's been a fan of the MK series, I think. It's just like, well, we don't know what to do, and the game's over. Kronika's a stupid villain, too, because, like, okay, why is Kronika bad? Why isn't she... Okay, first of all, if Kronika really wanted to do... This is just me putting my writer hat on here. If Kronika really just wanted to fucking, like, a world without Raiden, why would she let young, shitty Raiden that wasn't corrupted, like, exist? Why even fucking bother bringing back people that you know are going to do the right thing? And then she said, oh, well, I wanted to corrupt them. Bullshit, that's so stupid. And then, like, the events, this has played out many times before, that it's a fucking train wreck, and it's how you do not write a game. I'm sorry. That game is just terrible. Like, it's fine as a fighting game. It's just terrible in terms of a fucking story. It's just like, it feels like the story was wrote by like 28 different people, and they just put like fucking cards and said, okay, they basically played Uno and figured out how the whole fucking story was going to be. It reads like bad fan fiction, and like, well, what am I saying? All fan fiction's bad. But it reads like really bad fan fiction, and just, oh god, it just gets so dumb. Like, not even like, okay, I'm not going to even address the obvious one that is really stupid. Like, I'm a very, like, god, here we go. I'm a kind of liberal person, I guess, sure. I'm not what I'd call a Democrat or a liberal, but it's like, when the hell did Jax ever... Jax saying the word woke just sounds dumb. I'm sorry. That's never been a part of his character. His ending was really dumb. Like, all the endings were really kind of stupid to start with. Like, wasn't it like Kano? No, it wasn't Kano. It was fucking... Oh, who was it? Cabal just becomes rich, and... That's dumb. That's not even his character. Like, there's a scene... Okay, the fucking... That whole game is a train wreck, and I'm gonna say one reason why. Okay, why is it that when Johnny Cage, in the present, when he punches younger Kano in the balls, like, why doesn't that, like, completely disable older Kano? Because it establishes that that scar he gets is from, like... punching his younger clone or whatever the fuck happened. I can't remember. Like, it's so dumb. Like, characters just... Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. Jax is only a bad guy because he got drunk and watched TV. And he didn't have his daughter in cell reception, so he becomes an overreactive person. It's really stupid. And it sucks that Jackie has, like, the best and most emotional ending out of all the characters in the game. And guess what? For the main story, it doesn't matter because everything gets turned back. Everything's gone. Everything's done. Nope. Time up. Done. It's the stupidest shit I've ever seen in a fighting game. Period. Okay? And I love how people go, oh, well, technically, a fighting game story doesn't really matter. And to which I'll reply, it totally does. Otherwise, you have no investment in the characters or what's going on. It's like playing... the new Doom and just going, I just want to shoot things. I don't care about the story. That's true. I feel that way too. But it's like part of like a fighting game. You play a fighting game franchise either because you enjoy the mechanics, the story, or both. And the mechanics are fine. The fighting game is fine. Like, I have no problem with it. The Crypt was a fucking train wreck, okay? That is the stupidest shit ever. Like, you can, and then like Ed Boon was like, no, you can't, like, oh my god, like, I don't even want to talk about that game. It's literally so bad. It's unpleasant for me to talk about because it hurts my brain to talk about it. It's that bad. On top of this part right here, so this part is just a little jank and weird, and I don't like it. This, if there's anything that Black Mesa could have easily fixed, it was this. Like, this segment is just iffy, and it feels bad, and I don't like it, and the momentum is iffy. Okay, like, I think you get the... Excuse me? Oh no, don't... Jesus Christ. Yeah, this whole segment right here is just iffy. I don't like it. That's all there is to it. So, I've already forgotten which parts I've done, which I haven't. Not this. I don't want this. Bitch about your pizza, why don't you? No, I'm reloading my save. I'm not even gonna deal with that. Oh my god. Fuck this noise, man. This is the worst. This is bad in original Half-Life, and it's just as bad here. Like, you honest to God cannot convince me that this is a good section at all. Like, it's just iffy. Man, I'm gonna keep bitching about Mortal Kombat 11. Okay, let's... Why would Jay get so mad that... God damn it. Why would Jay get so mad that Kotal Khan tries to kill, like, what are essentially shitty, like, douchey monster people, when they kill them by the boatloads in the entire series, but all of a sudden she goes, oh yeah, don't kill them, no, Kotal, you monster. Kotal Khan's a fucking warlord, okay? Why are you getting so mad about him doing something a warlord would totally do and make sense? And then he gets crippled all of a sudden, he's like, I cannot move my legs. The fuck you say? Like, seriously? Like, is there not, like, fucking space magic bullshit in Mortal Kombat that explains away these things, or cyber augments, or all these other fucking things that could totally make it, like... I get it, maybe in the fight he was crippled, but there's no, like, afterwards. It's like, oh yeah, Kotal Khan's crippled. Like, what? How? That's dumb. It's like the only time in Mortal Kombat history there's ever been, like, a lasting injury because someone did something in a fight. That's just... It's so fucking dumb. I can't even get over it. It just doesn't... Oh, it's bad. It's so bad, man. It's terrible. That game is a trash train wreck. Oh my god. I mean, MKX had some really dumb shit in it. Let's not even, like, pretend. Okay, like, think about this scene, if you've never played it. Like, well, if you have played it, okay, let's say if you've played it. That scene where the fucking Revenants basically go, and just, like, push Raiden, a fucking god, around? That is the dumbest shit. Why? Why? That scene is so stupid. It's not even funny. And it's just to establish that Raiden has to fight. Oh, God. It's dumb. Also, the Scientist doesn't have a shotgun. That was in the original. But, oh my God, man. That game, it's so bad. It's so bad it hurts, okay?
You finally found us.
Yeah?
So this is the guy, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Thought you'd never make it.
Oh, nonsense, Hunter. Nothing stands in the way of our errant knight in shining, high-impact reactive armor.
I think he has a thing for me.
Guess not.
I think he doesn't
Right
have a
then.
thing for me.
This way, Dr. Freeman. We've been expecting you.
I'm sure you have. Look at all this science-y shit.
What you see before you...
I see blue shit, I go towards it. You can keep talking.
Border world and brought back this way. Before the survey members started being collected themselves, that is.
Phony.
These readings have given us reason to suspect that there is an immense portal over there, created and maintained by the intense concentration of a single powerful being.
Or a big generator.
I'm sure that you will know it when you see it. I am loath to say this, Gordon, but you must kill it.
How do you know it's even alive?
You better kill it. No ifs, ands, or asses about it.
Of
I like that
course,
line.
You owe us nothing, Dr. Freeman. But you've come this far. You know as much about these creatures as anyone.
As in how to
Enough know
kill
that if
them?
you don't wipe it out. Well, let's put it this way. There ain't gonna be much for you to come home to.
What the fuck is that one?
So if you're willing, my colleague is waiting for you at the main portal controls. Dr. Stein. And don't let Hunter's brash
That broke me a little bit.
rankled since the incident.
Rankled? I think that's the only time I've ever heard that expression. Ever.
Do hurry.
Dr. Freeman, so glad you made it.
That's nice, dear. Give me guns! No, you don't.
This is the long jump module. I created it expressly for navigation in the world beyond.
She seems so proud of this. And I like this. This is actually really cool. Like, I like how if you use up all the charges, you can take fall damage, too. It feels kind of like... Well...
Glad I got this old science, don't you? So, you're actually gonna go through with this, huh?
I don't get a choice.
You're braver than you look. This here's my personal collection.
But I only use this Glock 17.
Right there, this side of the Rio Grande.
Anyways, so one thing for sure is, having played Doom Eternal, this feels really good. Like, Black Mesa has a pretty solid game feel, and the long jump in this game feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like it. It's a pretty good addition. I can't say anything bad about it. It improves on what was essentially a useless kind of gimmicky thing you use like one time in the original. So I can't complain too much. It was actually a really good addition. So, unfortunately, this is also where the end of, did you actually get the long jump in Vanilla's? I can't even remember. It's been so long since I played it. I think you do get it as well, and I think the controls were the same. But, yeah, this is the final encounter for the vanilla part of the game, which I like. And you see, this feels really good. I'll show you what I mean. So, okay. And this is also, like I said, where you start encountering controllers. Hello, Freeman. I'm up here. That's nice, dear. So, like, you can... I gotta get used to it, too. You can pretty much stop your momentum in midair, which is actually really cool. Like, I'm gonna see if I can hit that spot over there. Like, you see what I mean? It's pretty good. It feels good to, like, jump on stuff. It's still a bit jank, like, but it's not, like, so bad. It just feels weird because my brain instinctively thinks it's like Doom Eternal, but it's not. Why didn't they just use this big thing and put a fucking nuclear bomb into it? They're more than capable of making those. But, you know, there's me with my writer hat on, I guess. But I like this. This is honestly one of the reasons I actually like the Zen chapters that they added, because this mechanic comes into play really, really well. And it gives you an immense amount of control in that section, whereas in the original you had like 5% control in it. And I really do recommend doing this. If you haven't played Doom Eternal, go play that and play this, and you'll feel right at home. And of course, we start getting controllers, which, I mean, they function virtually identical to the original controllers. And you can also dodge their projectiles by doing stuff like this. Which is why I said, if you have played Doom Eternal, this should feel very familiar. It's not as snappy as that game, but it's still pretty good. I probably shouldn't be using a rocket in here. Just a thought. But the best way to kill controllers, shoot the big, giant, obvious, pulsating brain spot. That's a pretty effective way to kill them. And once we get into Zen, we'll start seeing, like... There isn't very many controllers in Zen, like, in the beginning, I should say. But, if you have played original Half-Life, oh god, I used up all my glue-on gun way too fast. I need to get some HP, man. Or that portal needs to hurry up. One of the two. Just saying, Mr. Man. Alright. And I don't have a good, like, time to just stop and stare at everything either. I think you can get, like, a game over if, like, too many of these spawn, but I'm actually not sure. Don't quote me on that. Almost there, free man. What if he calls him Gordy? Do you think anyone ever calls him Gordy? You must go now, Simmons! Whoosh! This is like Doom 3. This is a lot like Doom 3. I wish this wasn't added.